What's up with it? Back at you once again. And you already know how I do. There you go talking that boxing again. I don't watch reality TV. I watch boxing. And yeah, you know what to do when you come in the building. Let me know you in the building. Shout out where you coming from. Mr. Shelton off in the building. What's good with it? And like I always do, I'm gonna let give some people a chance to, find out that I'm on, and we'll get the show started. We got a whole lot to cook on today. Coming from that Jackson, Mississippi. Daryl, what's good with it? My boy Daryl in the building from that 520, that Tucson, Arizona. Sporting Advantage, what's good with it? BFTV Boxing off in the building, what's good with it, fam? And hit the like button. Like my boy Sporting Advantage say, hit that like button when you come in the building. Keelan Powell off in the building. Salute to you, King. Coming from that 816. Scotty White, what's good with it? Scotty White, he says hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And everybody that's in the building, and when you come in the building, before we even get the show started, if you're not subscribed to BFTV Boxing, go subscribe to my man BFTV Boxing. And if you're not subscribed to World Combat Sports, go subscribe to World Combat Sports. And you're going to thank me later. Jonas Lindenberg off in the building. He says these UK fans is out here defending Dillian White. He says like it's their job. Hey, we knew that was going to happen. But hey, one thing they can't do is they can't wake him up from that knockout. They can defend him all they want to, but they can't wake him up. And I'm still laughing. We still laughing at that clown. And share this to all your boxing groups too. Hey, my boy said he called him the pill snatcher. Yeah, his chin looked like it got a little weaker, ever since he got on them. Well, his chin ain't never been strong in the first place. But we see what happens to these fighters once they get off them pads. We see what go on. It's crazy how every time these fighters get off pads, they end up taking a big L. Or looking like shit. And to keep it real, Dillian White, he actually looked in great shape. But his chin is always gonna be suspect. And like I said, hit my like button when you come in the building. Silver 2011 off in the building. What's good? Matthew Valentine, what's good? Scotty White says they feeling hurt from Dillian getting destroyed from that uppercut. Hey, I heard that Dillian White, I heard he been having nightmares of that uppercut ever since Saturday. I heard he's still waking up in cold sweats, having nightmares from that uppercut. That's just what I heard. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just giving people some more time to get off in the building, let them know that I'm on, and then we're going to get the show started. Leonard Ellaby's nose off in the building. What's good with it? So let's go ahead and, we're going to go ahead and get it started. And like I said, when you come in the building, make sure that you hit my like button. If you're not already subscribed to me on YouTube, make sure that you go over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Everything Boxing and Sports. And make sure you hit the like button. It don't take no time and it don't cost nothing to hit that like button. So let's just go ahead and get into it. We got some news that I want to discuss. We got some news I want to discuss. Just a quick recap. Everybody know what happened this weekend. I talked about it. I already got on Dillian White's head on Saturday's live that I did right after the fight. So y'all can go check that out on YouTube over on Everything Boxing and Sports. If you did see the live that I did on Saturday, so I ain't gonna go in into I'm not gonna go in hard today on Dillian White, sorry ass, because that's already over with and done with. Dillian White proved that he's trash. I mean, Dillian White, he's all right, but he's not nowhere near the level that he was trying to make everybody think he was. It was funny because a lot of people were saying that he would knock out Deontay Wilder, and he proved that was bullshit. Like I've been saying, and like a lot of my partners and everybody else been saying, that he had no chance against Wilder. Keelan Powell says, you hear about the money issue for Bud versus? Yeah, I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into all of that, Keelan. CB Sports TV off in the building. What's good with it? And everybody go over there and subscribe to CB Sports TV. Over there cooking as well. Sal Hamilton off in the building. He says, you can start posting fight. Come on, because they don't advise like they used to. Let me know. He said, you can start posting fight. Come on, because retype that for me, Sal. I didn't really get what you were saying. Are you saying I could start posting the fights? Let me know if that's what you were saying. Because, I don't have no problem with posting the fights as long as they don't kick me off. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and get into it. The first thing I'm going to get into is we just going to step into it. Let's talk about Canelo Alverez, okay? Canelo Alverez, we all know that Canelo Alverez, he's hopping around and bouncing around and only picking fights against opponents nowadays that he know that he can beat, right? He know that he can beat. So he hopping around and picking fights that he know he could beat, right? Now, Canelo Alvarez did not want to fight David Benavidez when David Benavidez was the WBC champion at super middleweight at 168. He didn't want no parts of David Benavidez. As soon as David Benavidez loses his title on the scale, what does Canelo Alvarez do? He throws his hat in 168-pound division to be able to fight for that vacant WBC title. Now, somehow Yildirim was already in line to be the next up to fight for that title because Yildirim and Benavidez was already supposed to fight each other, right? Yildirim and Benavidez was already supposed to fight each other, but with the COVID situation and all that, that fight fell out, right? That fight fell out. So Yildirim and Benavidez wasn't able, to fight. So we all know that Benavidez lost his title on the scales. He did lose his title in the ring. He lost his title on the scales. And Benavidez was one of the names thrown in the hat to be able to, get a chance to fight for his title again. But they skipped right over Benavidez. They didn't give him his chance to be able to regain his title back. Of course, they gave it to Canelo Alvarez. And Canelo Alvarez is the superstar. We all know that Mauricio Suleiman, he always does any and everything that Canelo Alvarez wants him to do. So Canelo Alvarez gets the nod. Canelo Alvarez is the chosen one that gets picked to cherry pick his way to another WBC title In this time, it's at the 168-pound weight division. Now, Canelo, this is some bullshit, right? Because Canelo knows that he can beat Yildirim. Yildirim is an easy fight for Canelo, right? So as he does, he takes easy fights. He wants to cherry pick his way to easy fights. And if y'all don't know about Yildirim, the thing with Yildirim is Yildirim has already lost. He took a loss. His last fight, I believe, Yildirim lost to Anthony Durrell, right? In the past, Yildirim was knocked out in the third round. He was knocked out, took a big KO loss in the third round against Chris Eubank Jr. So, of course, you know, Canelo Alvarez is going to run through Yildirim. Yildirim is a good C-level fighter. You know, he is a C-level fighter. But anyway, DAZN looked at that fight, right? Canelo and Mauricio Sulaiman, you know, they trying to get that fight. We all know that Canelo fights on DAZN, right? So Canelo brings this fight to DAZN, like, hey, this is our next fight. When y'all gonna set it up? DAZN looked at that bullshit and was like, you think we're gonna pay you to fight him? Do you think that we're gonna pay you to fight Yildirim, a guy that nobody knows about? Don't nobody know who he is, but you think you're gonna be able to cherry pick your way to fight him? Oh, no way. Nope. I don't know where you're gonna get, I don't know how you're gonna fight him, but you're not doing it over here on DAZN. So they shut that shit down, right? They shut it down. This is how corrupt Mauricio Sulaiman is. Instead of, you know, doing his job and being like, okay, you know, we sorry, Canelo, you know, DAZN turned it down. We sorry for you. We can't do nothing for you. We did all we could do. No, Mauricio Sulaiman in the WBC, they're still adamant in pushing for Canelo to have this fight. Now, news has recently come out that that Yildirim's team, right? Yildirim's team is soon they're gonna be meeting with Al Heyman, right? They're gonna be meeting with Al Heyman, and they're gonna be in talks with Al Heyman to try to get this fight on Showtime, right? Sometime early in 2021. So for you guys that's been wondering, if this all goes down, they looking to have it early next year. So it doesn't even look like that Canelo's gonna fight anytime this year, right? They looking to have this fight early next year, and they looking to have it on Showtime. They have until September 22nd to get this fight done, right? So they got September 22nd to agree to terms on the fight with Yildirim and Canelo Alvarez, because Mauricio Sulaiman and Canelo Alvarez is adamant this is the fight that they want. Of course, because Mauricio Sulaiman wants Canelo Alvarez to be able to represent another one of his titles again, and Canelo Alvarez wants another easy grab at a title, you know, at 168 pounds, right? We see what he's doing. So, you know, so they adamant about this fight. Now, Yildirim and his people, they already, you know, they're going to get the fight for the WBC title no matter who it is, right? So, and they know if they fight against Canelo, right, that they're going to get paid more. So basically, so what's going on now is Yildirim's team is going to be meeting with Al Heyman, right, to try to get this fight set up for Showtime, right? They're going to try to get this fight set up on Showtime, right? Now, check this out. They have till September the 22nd to agree on terms for this fight. Now, if they can't agree, right? If they can't agree on terms for the fight will go to purse bid, right? After September the 22nd. Now, this is where it gets sticky, right? Yildirim, they gonna be with Al Heyman, right? They getting Al Heyman to advise them for this fight and whatnot. Him and his team, and they already said that they're gonna put up 40 mil for the fight, right? So right there, if the fight go to purse bid, they already letting you know that they got 40 mil in the stash ready to put up for this fight, right? And that's big money. If they could put up 40 mil, DAZN or whoever, it got to be DAZN. DAZN, they not going to match that. They ain't putting up because they already turned the fight down. They already told him, we not paying you to fight Yildirim. First of all, we know nobody going to want to watch it because don't nobody know who he is. We only going to pay you from here on out to fight against fights that we know that the fans want to see, right? They want him. See, this is the thing. Canelo is in a bind because DAZN wants Canelo to fight Triple G. They're adamant, right? Now, Canelo is supposed to be scheduled to fight Triple G in May, right? After he fight whoever he fight next, he's supposed to be fighting Triple G in May, right? But DAZN don't want him to fight another no-name opponent that nobody knows in the U.S., right? So, and that's understandable. See, Canelo, he thought that he was going to get, free reign to just fight all these nobodies and get paid because he got that $360 million guarantee for 11 fights or whatever it was. But they like, nah. We already over here suffering on DAZN. We having money issues already. So you think we going to pay and lose money for you to fight these fucking Rudy Poots? Nah, we good. So, yeah, that's what's happening. So, ain't nobody finna outbid Yildirim and his team and Al Heyman. Ain't nobody's gonna bid more than 40 mil. Because, see, if they bid 40 mil, that means that they can still pay Canelo his 30 plus mil guarantee, right? And then they still got all types of other money to pay Yildirim or what it's wide open if they gonna put up 40 mil to have it on Showtime. But this is the problem, right? This is where the problem lies, even if they do have the fight on Showtime, right? They're gonna have to have it on pay-per-view, on Showtime pay-per-view, right? So this is where the problem lies. If they have the Canelo Yildirim fight, right, and they get it on Showtime and they have it on pay-per-view, right? Who's gonna pay for that fight? That's the problem that they have. Who's going to pay for a Showtime pay-per-view fight with Yildirim and Canelo Alverez if nobody knows who Yildirim is? You only know who Yildirim is if you a super diehard boxing fan. Excuse me. The only reason I know who he is because I saw him get knocked out by Chris Eubank Jr. And then I seen him lose to my man, Anthony Durrell. If it wasn't for that, I don't know who he is. So basically that's what it is, so that's where the problem lies. Is this a fight that I would pay for? I wouldn't pay for this damn fight. I ain't no way in hell I'll pay to see Canelo Alvarez versus Yildirim on pay-per-view. Now, if they put it on free TV on Showtime, I'll watch it. But then if they put it on free TV, how are they gonna get their money back that they put up for the fight? Because if they putting up 40 mil for a fight, that's a large penny to put up for a fight, right? So how they gonna put their money back? How they gonna get their money back? But this is what Yildirim's team is saying. They already said that they got put up in the safe. They got 40 mil that if the fight goes to purse bid, they already willing to do it. Now, another question before I get to y'all comments, another question I have that's going to have to be answered is Canelo, he signed a huge contract on DAZN. Everybody knows, right? So how is Canelo going to be allowed to go over to Showtime and fight on Showtime? Well, if the fight has to go to purse bid, right? If that fight is mandated, right? Like Mauricio Suleiman and the WBC are in the works trying to get the fight mandated, that they adamant that's the fight that they want for Canelo, right? If the fight is mandated, well, then Canelo has no choice but to be allowed to go on Showtime and fight because it went to purse bid. And if you lose the purse bid, DAZN, which we already know that they're going to lose because they don't have no interest in the fight and they don't have no interest in putting up the money in the purse bid to win the fight, right? So Canelo, we just might see Canelo making his return to Showtime, the top of next year. We know Canelo, he ain't fought on Showtime in years. So we might see Canelo making his return to Showtime. That's going to be very interesting, just seeing him fight on Showtime, because if he fight on Showtime for this fight, who knows? Canelo might fuck around and do everything he can to get out of that contract, because DAZN not going to be able to uphold that contract anyway and pay him. They already having financial issues. Canelo might do everything he can to get out of that contract, and we might see next year, we might see Canelo going all over there with Al Heyman. Who knows? Who knows? And we already know that he don't fuck with De La Hoya. If y'all didn't know, Canelo and De La Hoya, they don't even speak to each other. They talk through third party, right? So they relay messages between basically a mediator between them two. They don't even talk to each other one-on-one. So let me see what y'all talking about in the comment section. CB Sports says Benavidez whoops Canelo. Oh, for a fact. He beats the shit out of that's why Canelo. Let me take that back. I'm not gonna play Canelo and act like he just goes out there and gets the shit beat out of him by Benavidez. But it's a tough fight. It's a tough fight. Canelo and his team and Canelo, they know that if they get in the ring with somebody like Benavidez, it's not a sure win, right? They looking for at this point in time, it looks like and if you do all the receipts show that Canelo at this point in time, he's only looking to get in the ring against opposition that he know that he can beat, right? Shout out and Tired. What's good with you? Coming from that Pittsburgh, PA. Frankie Lyman says, don't matter how he lost he said it don't matter how he lost it. He a professional, make weight. Oh, you talking about Benavidez. Yeah, you still got to make weight. But you know what? I don't really agree with losing your title on the scales like that, because because this is the thing. I think that they should give them guys a huge fine, but then it looks stupid if you taking their titles away on the scale, right? And then you do things like Benavidez did and just go out there and beat the living shit out of your opponent that had no chance of winning the title anyway. So what you do is, okay, you don't want to make weight. Well, I'm going to take a large percentage of your purse. So now you going out there and you fighting for motherfucking damn near nothing, maybe, do that, but let him keep the title, because if you in the ring against a guy that don't have no type of chance of winning the title off of you, what does it look like, stripping the title, but everybody got their different opinions. Dirty Perez says, no way Benavidez whoops Canelo. Like I said, it's a good fight, but it's not a fight that it's certainly not a fight that Canelo just gonna go out there and he gonna win. You feel me? KP from KC5, what's good with it, homie? I appreciate that. Frankie says Canelo beats both of them. You don't know that. Canelo, obviously, Canelo ain't, both of who? Yeah, he beats the shit out of Yildirim, if that's who you're talking about. But obviously, he's not too confident that he can beat Benavidez, because he ain't want none of Benavidez when Benavidez had that WBC strap. But as soon as Benavidez lost the strap, he broke his neck and fucking sprinted to get in line to be the next up to fight for that strap. So, what that tell you right there? Jamaican, what's good with it? What's good with it? Let me see. Wayne Jr. says nobody buying that BS. Ain't nobody buying that shit. CB Sports says Showtime gonna lose major money. Yeah, they gonna lose major money if they. That's what I'm saying. But I think that Yildirim's team, right? They acting like that they gonna boss up and they got all the money to put up for that fight. So whoever putting up money for that fight is gonna lose money on that fight, right? Whoever's putting up the money for that fight, they just got to get ready to lose money because that's what's gonna happen. Ain't nobody paying for that shit. And then how you gonna have Canelo on regular TV as much as money as he want? You gotta pay. You paying him 30+ mil to fight on regular TV? Where they do that at? I ain't never heard it. Sporting Advantage says it better be a good undercard. And that's another thing. Like, do you put Showtime? I mean, like, who would fight on that undercard from Showtime or PBC? Would it be PBC fighters fighting on that undercard? You know, I guess it would have to be Showtime PBC fighters. Excuse me. Sean Jackson says Canelo needs a dance partner to draw big numbers. He can't do it himself against no names. Well, Canelo, make sure that you hit my like button. If you haven't hit the like button yet, make sure that you hit my like button and share this to all your boxing groups. You know, if you on Facebook, if you in boxing groups, share this. If you not on Facebook, share the live the YouTube feed to Facebook in your boxing groups. But yeah, I mean, Canelo, his stock really took a dive when he started fighting on that app, right? When he started fighting on DAZN, his he took a dive. It's crazy, and I know that for a fact. I know people that was huge Canelo fans that when he was fighting on this app, they asking me like, "Oh, well, what's the app called? What channel do I go to watch that?" And I'm like, "Nah, you actually got to order a subscription to this app. Then you got to get on, your streaming device on your TV or your computer, and that's how." And they like, "Oh, you got to do all that?" "Nah, I'm good." You know where I can go watch the fight at? You know where I could, because ain't nobody, they wasn't really hip to this DAZN app. So why would you put Canelo on the app? Don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? It don't make sense. Jamaican says they still pushing for that cherry pick. I thought DAZN scratched it. Yeah, nah, but Mauricio Suleiman and Canelo, they know it's an easy belt. We already know WBC corrupt and what they do and how they move. So yeah, they stay. That's the fight that they adamant about having. And it looked like if Yildirim's team, if they uphold what they say they gonna do, it looks like that fight is going to happen sometime early 2021, and that fight will be on Showtime. Lucas McCain says, "Man, they already had Canelo versus Billy Joe Sanders signed, sealed, and delivered. How you gonna say he is cherry picking unless you think COVID was his fault? Because the only reason that fight got canceled. First of all, ain't shit signed, sealed, and delivered. Nothing was never signed, sealed, delivered with him and Billy Joe Sanders. You better go back and do your research. That fight was never signed, sealed, and delivered. That fight was in the works, but they never got that fight signed, sealed, and delivered. So how you gonna come on here and tell me some news that you don't know what the fuck you talking about? And he is cherry picking. If he wasn't cherry picking, tell me why he wasn't breaking his neck to fight Benavidez when Benavidez had the title. Explain that to me. If he wanted to be champion at 168 pounds so bad, tell me why he didn't jump up and rush to fight Benavidez when Benavidez had the title. When Benavidez, more than on one occasion, mentioned that he would love to fight Canelo Alverez and put his title on the line against Canelo Alverez. But you didn't hear nothing about Canelo Alverez ever saying Benavidez's name when Benavidez was champion. And these are just the facts. Frank Denner says, can't hate Canelo for wanting to make money, but he's hurting the sport by being a cherry picker. I mean, he gonna make the money regardless. You dig what I'm saying? The issue is not about him wanting to make money. The issue is about Canelo and his people saying that he's the best, right? Him being considered, 1 or 2 pound for pound best in the sport, but not wanting to fight none of the best opposition. Right? So that's just what it is. Sean Jackson says Triple G is too old by this point. There's no reason to think he'll do better in this fight. No, so this is the thing with me, Sean Jackson. I don't give a damn about no Triple G. Triple G is a bigger ducker than Canelo or anybody is. Like I said, my last live, Triple G, or maybe I think I was on World Combat Sports and we talked about this. I was on World Combat Sports channel and we was talking about this. Like I said on there, Triple G, he came flat out and told you that he's never going to fight Jamal Charlo or Demetrius Andrade. Triple G, he don't want to fight nobody unless it's Canelo or unless it's a certified cab driver. So Triple G not even worthy for me to mention. Triple G don't deserve no fight against Canelo or nobody else until he grow some nuts and step up and fight some of these fighters. But that's a whole different subject in itself. Let me see. CB Sports TV says Canelo De La Hoya would be super pissed if Canelo signs with Al Heyman. Oh yeah, they gonna hate that. Well, they gonna hate that. But like I said, if somehow Canelo gets out of his contract with DAZN, if they can't pay him, because he's guaranteed a purse, right? If they can't fulfill the contract that they put him in, that he signed, right? They can't pay him. They don't have no choice but to let him go, right? Or sit him on the shelf. But I mean, it's gonna be a problem. They're gonna have to be in court and settle that issue. So shit gonna hit the fan. Y'all better believe shit is about to hit the fan real soon with Canelo Alverez and Golden Boy in DAZN. Shit gonna hit the fan. Because Canelo, he think he got shit locked and loaded, and because he signed the dotted line and he signed that contract. So he like, hey, fuck what they talking about. They gonna have to pay me. In DAZN and the Oscar and Golden Boy and all of them, they like, we already doing bad. Shit, we down and out already. We can't afford to pay him these big bucks, and he don't want to fight nobody but Rudy Poos that don't nobody know. So CB Sports TV said he don't see Canelo beating Benavidez. Shit, he don't see himself beating Benavidez neither. Because he didn't want that smoke. Lucas McCain says, nah, brother, they have to strip those they have to strip them dudes if not, you got dudes like Tank missing weight every single fight. They don't have to strip them because like I said, if these guys not gonna miss weight every single fight, if they fuck around and have to get in the ring and fight for pennies, compared to what they used to, they ain't gonna miss weight. If you find them a hefty ass fine, if they, say Tank or Benavidez, whatever, just say they scheduled to make $3 million for a purse, right? And you like, okay, you miss weight, we gonna take 1.5 million from that purse and we gonna give it to your opponent, or we gonna split it up however, but that's a 1.5 million you ain't getting. Oh, you better believe they gonna make weight. D-Lo 404 boxing off in the building. What's good with it? D-Lo 404 says it's not a fight Canelo likely takes. No, Canelo he wants to take that fight. If you're talking about the Yildirim, yeah, he bet down there begging them to give him that fight. World Combat Sports says none of the top names in his division will be on the undercard. Yeah, nah, they won't. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what would that undercard look like? You feel me? Marcus now, Ohio runs boxing off in the building. You know, hey, they say Ohio runs boxing. Hey, them Ohio boys, they heavy. Them Ohio boys heavy in the boxing game. But shout out to Mr. Ohio runs boxing. KP from KC5 says Canelo needs to go to Al Heyman and fight on Fox and Fox Deportes for his people. Man, do you know how big? See, hold up for a minute, man. KP from KC, you know what I'm saying? That's some fire shit you just said, because do y'all understand how big it would be if Canelo went over there to Al Heyman, had Al Heyman to advise him, but Canelo basically went over there to the PBC? You know how big it would be if Canelo were to fight on Fox pay-per-view? Over there, you already got Errol Spence, Wilder, all, and then they get Canelo, where you can actually go see him on regular pay-per-view. You don't have to go to no app and, oh man, and then the way that they promote their fighters, you know what I'm saying? Canelo already big and known, but the way that they would promote Canelo, and then also how he said fight on Fox Deportes, you know, that should be that would be huge. That'll be huge. But see, that's the problem. That's the problem. If Canelo go over there, right, with the PBC, Fox, Canelo wouldn't be able to duck them guys like Charlo and, you know, Benavidez and Caleb Plant. You feel me? Canelo go over there. In order for them to put him on pay-per-view, he's going to have to fight them guys, right? And that's the problem. You feel me? He over there on the zone, he got a built-in excuse. He already got a built-in excuse, and he got a way to duck these heavy hitters on the zone, right? You go to Fox, you ain't got no excuse. So it's different, you know, it's different. And, you know, don't get me wrong, Canelo's a hell of a fighter. And Canelo pretty much well could beat all of these fighters that we talking about. I'm not saying that I'll pick him against all of these fighters, but he very well could beat all of these fighters. But the thing is, he don't want to test himself. He don't want to test himself. And if you go, right, if you go back, you know, and do your homework, Canelo has been like this. He been doing this when he was at 154. Making, you know what I'm saying, waiting, fighting dudes that was damn near already out the door, out of boxing, or making dudes, you know, fight him at a weight that he made up at 155. He has a whole history of doing this shit. So y'all shouldn't be surprised now that he trying to cherry pick his way, move up and down to easy titles, fighting for vacant titles against Rudy Poots. Let me see. Lucas McCain says, my dude Marcus Law. Okay. KP from KC5 said, my Mexican peeps was like, I'm not watching fights like that. Yeah, they not gonna support that. The Mexican fans, you dig what I'm saying? They used to, you know, they want to see him in there against some big names. After a while, they ain't, unless there's another Mexican that got a big name, or, you know, another fighter, period, they got a big name. After a while, they catching on to that shit. And they like, man, fuck that. We not finna pay and watch Canelo fight all of these dudes we never heard of before. Nah, we good. D-Lo 44 Boxing says, I never believed Canelo versus GGG pay-per-view numbers. Remember, Oscar refused to allow HBO to release them. I think they did good numbers, you know what I'm saying? Because the Canelo versus Triple G was a big fight. I was, you know what I'm saying, I was out there for one of the fights. I think it was the first fight, you know what I'm saying? And that was a big fight. That was a big fight. Both of them fights were big fights. And they were highly anticipated fights. So whatever the numbers did off of my head, or whatever they said the numbers did, you know, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But I know that those were big. They were big fights, and they did some big numbers. Let me see. World Combat Sports says, my bad. Let me see. Let me see what y'all. Lucas McCain says easy because Benavidez is a PBC fighter and it's like pulling teeth to get those dudes to fight anybody out. Okay, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's like pulling teeth to get those dudes to fight anybody outside of PBC. When you had Benavidez on record saying that he would love to fight Canelo Alverez. Canelo Alvarez never even responded or wanted no parts of Benavidez, like I said before. But soon as Benavidez lost the title on the scales, he jumped and broke his neck to to get a fight for that title. You know what I'm saying? What you talking about don't make no sense. Jamie Batchelor says, Golovkin is the worst money ever spent. Yeah, you're right. They gave all of that money to Golovkin for what? For what? What they give all that money to him for, right? For him to go on there and fight Steve Rose and refuse to fight anybody that was going to be a challenge to him if their name wasn't Canelo Alvarez, right? Come on now. It's crazy. It's nuts. Right? You give all that money to him to fight Steve Rose. Right? It just don't make no sense. It makes no sense. I don't know what they thought that they were going to get out of signing Triple G. Like, you just signed Triple G for the fact that you was just going to get Canelo Alvarez fight out of him. Like, that's the business y'all was doing. And it shows you that DAZN, they was doing some bad business that's already came back to hunt them. They was doing some very bad business when they stepped in the game, talking like had Eddie Hearn hyping their head up, right? Like they was gonna had Eddie Hearn hyping them up, like they was really gonna, take over boxing, listening to Eddie Hearn and all of that bullshit that he was talking, and now they suffering from it, They suffering from it. They having big money issues over there. Skeeter in the building. He says Toledo, Ohio runs boxing. Shout out Toledo, Ohio. Man, I was a couple weeks ago, I was out there in Toledo, Ohio. I hit the Hollywood Casino. Man, fuck that casino. Never again will I go to Toledo, Ohio and touch that Hollywood Casino ever again. But shout out to my boy Robert Easter from Toledo, Ohio, and all the other, boxing, but all the other fighters out there in Toledo. White got caught with the lethal shot by, we know that. We already cooked on that. But like I said, hit my like button. If you in the building, hit my like button because it don't take no time to hit the like button. And go over to YouTube and subscribe to me on YouTube. Everything Boxing and Sports. That's it. And if you want to support, if you're in the building and anybody want to support the channel, my Cash App is right there scrolling across the screen if you want to support the channel. But yeah. So let's go ahead, moving along. So that's the news about Canelo Alvarez. So now all we could do is we could sit back and we could wait, and don't be surprised. Like I said, if you see Canelo Alvarez fighting on Showtime, the top of 2021, because that's what it's looking like. That's probably gonna happen right now, unless things change. But we all know that things change from day to day all the time in the sport of boxing. So we just got to sit back and we got to wait. So let's go ahead and talk about Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, right? We know that, Ryan Garcia has been in talks with fighting Luke Campbell. That fight has been on the table. They've been trying to get that fight made for Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell for quite some time now. Finally, Ryan Garcia has let it be known that he has signed the contract to fight Luke Campbell. Ryan Garcia is going to be fighting Luke. Jupiter B, what's good with it? Ryan Garcia is signed, sealed, and delivered on Ryan Garcia's end, right? He's going to be fighting Luke Campbell sometime in November. That's when that fight's going to take place, sometime in November. Ryan Garcia has already signed his end of the contract. So everybody that was saying that Ryan Garcia was on that bullshit, that Ryan Garcia was, asking for too much money, this, and that, Ryan Garcia has let it be known that he already waiting for Luke Campbell to sign his end of the contract. So Luke Campbell has not signed his portion of the contract yet, but the word is out that Luke Campbell will be signing his portion, and we're gonna see Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell in November. This is a very good fight. This is a very good fight because Luke Campbell, even though you might not know who Luke Campbell is no pushover. Luke Campbell is an Olympic gold medalist. Luke Campbell, we seen that he a hell of a fighter. He gave Vasyl Lomachenko probably his toughest fight to date, a lot of people will say. Luke Campbell gave Vasyl Lomachenko probably his toughest fight to date. Luke Campbell is a tall, rangy fighter. He's very tall for the 135 pound weight division. He's almost 5'10". Luke Campbell's almost 5'10". And he's in his prime now. Luke Campbell is 32. You know how a lot of them dudes, they stay in the Olympics for a long time. But Luke Campbell is in his prime now, and he ready. So if Ryan Garcia at the young age of 21 can come out and beat a Luke Campbell, you got to give Ryan Garcia his props. If Ryan Garcia, if he can beat Luke Campbell, you got to sit back and say Ryan Garcia has arrived. If Ryan Garcia can knock out Luke Campbell, do you know how loud that's going to speak for Ryan Garcia if he can go out there and knock out Luke Campbell? So this is a fight that I'm anticipating. I'm anticipating this fight because Luke Campbell ain't no pushover. You dig what I'm saying? And Luke Campbell ain't no pushover. Henny Gomez, what's good? What y'all think about the Luke Campbell and Ryan Garcia fight? Who do y'all got in this fight? Who do y'all got in this fight? Because like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing this fight. It's going to be a hell of a fight. I'm looking forward to seeing Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell. I don't know. I haven't seen Ryan Garcia in there against, against top-notch competition to really pick him over Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell is a seasoned veteran. Luke Campbell has been in there with Vasyl Lomachenko, Luke Campbell's getting better every time he go out there. I think I'm a favorite Ryan Garcia, but I don't know. Jamaican says, I can't wait for Garcia to get touched by Luke Campbell. He says, pause. He says, I want to see his reaction when his chin gets tested. Yeah, because Luke Campbell will test Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia not going to be able to go in there and walk through Luke Campbell like that. Y'all better go watch Luke Campbell's past fights. Luke Campbell can fight. Michael Chavez says, I got Garcia by robbery. Hey, Michael Chavez, that very well could happen. Jamaican says, I got Luke sleeping Ryan 8 rounds. Okay, KP from KC says he got Luke Campbell beat Ryan Garcia. See, this is a great fight because, like I said, a lot of people, as you can see now, got Luke Campbell getting beat by Ryan Garcia. The only people that really got this fight as a landslide for Ryan Garcia is people that really don't, not diehard boxing fans that don't really know who Luke Campbell is. Silver 2011 said Garcia needs to start accepting his fights. He accepted it. We got the Luke Campbell fight. That's why we here. That's what we talking about. I like Ryan Garcia though. Jupiter B says I like Garcia versus Campbell. He says I favor Ryan, but Campbell will give him a few problems. I think Campbell can give him a lot of problems. But if Ryan Garcia go out there and just knock out Luke Campbell, Ryan Garcia is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And at that point in time, if Ryan Garcia go out here and knock out Luke Campbell, beat Luke Campbell convincingly, you got to make the Garcia and Tank Davis fight. After that, you got to make that fight. Henny Gomez says Garcia will come through at the end. At the end of the day, he says it might not be a knockout, but he'll win. He might. I'm a root for Ryan Garcia. A lot of y'all don't like the kid. I like the kid. You know what I'm saying? I like Ryan Garcia. But Ryan Garcia, is me studying him and watching him and sparring, because you really don't really get to see too much of him in tough fights, because he really ain't been in no tough fights in the professional ranks, right? But if you watch him in sparring, one thing that really sticks out to me with Ryan Garcia is he is a pure finesse fighter. Ryan Garcia don't have a lot of strength as far as, when he's battling on the inside against somebody, like, say, that's going to put pressure on him, like, a pressure fighter, right? Ryan Garcia is able to get pushed around, right? If he gets in there against a tough, gritty fighter that got power, right? Ryan Garcia is a finesse fighter. Ryan Garcia, he needs to be able to have to keep you in his range and fight on the outside. He don't like to get in them rough, them rough inside close against dudes like a Fortuna, right? Javier Fortuna would be a hard fight for Ryan Garcia because it clashes with Ryan Garcia's style. Javier Fortuna is one of them dudes that's going to go in there. Wow. He going to be right up on you the whole time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like flies on shit. And he not going to give you a chance to breathe. And Ryan Garcia would have to be forced to move to use his footwork and fight be able to get out of fighting against a dirty opponent like that. So one thing I do see with Ryan Garcia is when he does have to get in there with a tough, gritty fighter that, applies a lot of pressure, that, fights dirty and can push you around on the inside, he's going to have a problem. But a guy like Luke Campbell is a good matchup, style matchup for Ryan Garcia. They both long. They both like to fight on the outside. So it's going to be a hell of a fight. Let me see what y'all talking about in the comment section. Jamaican says Luke was touching up Loma. Yeah, Luke Campbell was giving Loma problems. But see, I told people when Luke Campbell and Lomachenko fight was made, I said, don't sleep on Luke Campbell. Just because you're not too familiar with who he is, Luke Campbell is going to give Lomachenko some problems. I said that. Ronnie J. Melvin off in the building. He says Campbell can put good pressure on Ryan. Yeah, Luke Campbell a good-ass fighter. You don't win no Olympic gold medal, and not be good. See, they kind of threw Luke Campbell in there early when Luke Campbell took that L to Linares. It was a split decision loss he took. It was early in his career. He was still kind of learning. He was still trying to adapt to being a professional because he still had that Olympic style. And if you know your boxing, you know that the Olympic style is a lot different than a pro style. So, but now Luke Campbell is in his prime. He's adapted to the professional ranks. As you can see, if you go back and look at the Lomachenko fight, and Luke Campbell is a game. He real game. I would like to see what the fight odds look like when they do put the odds out for this fight. Let me see. Daniel Poro says, I got money on Garcia. Yeah, I'm rooting for Garcia, though, for real. Jamaican says Garcia is all right, but he needs to tuck that chin, though. Yeah, that's another thing. When he fights, when he throws his hooks, he has his chin up in the air, right? And he a hell of a hooker, you know what I'm saying? But he has his chin in the air. And he get in there with somebody that's gonna hook with him and that could match his speed. It's gonna be a problem. He might go night. So we'll see. Jupiter B says, I'm rooting for Ryan. He says, hopefully he can back up his talk. Campbell defense isn't the best, so that's his best option. Ronnie J. Melvin says Garcia has no brawn. Jupiter B says same for Ryan. No, let me see. Henry Gomez says he has promising future. He keeps working hard, and his future gonna be real big if he can come and beat somebody like if he can beat Campbell. Now, if you got to think, if Ryan Garcia can go out there and get a win against Luke Campbell, to me, that means that he got a better win on his resume than Tank Davis. He'll have a better win on his resume than Devin Haney. These are facts. You feel me? We're not Teofimo Lopez, because we all know Teofimo finna fight Lomachenko. Let me see. Shakur Stevenson, would he have? Yeah, I would say that he'll have a better win on his record than Shakur Stevenson, even, right? So yeah, if he go out there and beat Luke Campbell, he'll have probably, as far as one opponent, he'll be up there on his resume. Luke Campbell, to me, is a hell of a fighter. I wouldn't say great, but he a B plus level fighter. Jamaican, he said, didn't Linares test positive for COVID-19? Yeah, he did test positive for COVID-19. And remember, it was supposed to be Ryan Garcia and Jorge Linares, but Linares tested positive for COVID-19 and that fight fell out. But see, the thing is that I think that Luke Campbell is a much tougher fight than Linares at this point in time. Linares is older now, right? He's been stopped several times, and Linares, he's not in his prime anymore. Luke Campbell is still young. Even though he's 32, but he's still young in the sport of boxing right now, because he ain't been professional for that long. I think he turned professional in 2013 or like end of 2013, somewhere around there. So Linares is, damn near out the door. So Luke Campbell is a much tougher opponent. Let me see. Ronnie Melvin says, a win for Garcia makes his stock rise. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? A win for Garcia makes his stock rise. Daniel Poro says that the odds for Campbell Garcia is out. I haven't looked at it myself, but Daniel is off in the comments, and he says that the odds are that Luke Campbell right now is a favorite, a negative 135 favorite, and Garcia is almost even money. Plus 105. That means that he's basically even money. So what that means, if y'all don't know about gambling, a negative 135 means that if you bet on Luke Campbell, you got to put up $135 to win $100 back, right? But if you bet on Ryan Garcia, if you put up $100, you win 105. So he's almost even money, But if that's the case, we don't know, because that fight don't happen until November. So we know them odds are gonna change a lot. Silver 2011 says Linares did better against Lomachenko than Luke Campbell. Linares did not do better against Lomachenko than Luke Campbell did. Nah, I gotta disagree with you right there, my dude, because Linares got knocked out against Lomachenko. Linares was blessed to fight Lomachenko. Linares got a blessing in that fight because you got to remember that Lomachenko tore his shoulder in the second round, right? Even though Linares got a flash knockdown against Lomachenko, Lomachenko still came back and knocked out Linares and stopped him, right? Lomachenko fought that whole fight with a torn shoulder, and Linares still couldn't avoid being knocked out by Lomachenko. So you can't say that he did better than Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell was giving Lomachenko all type of problems. But yeah, so moving along. And like I said, I'm gonna get into the news about Terrence Crawford. I'm gonna get into the news about Terrence Crawford. So before I do that, before I get into this next news about Terrence Crawford, make sure that you hit my like button, hit the like button, and make sure that you go over to YouTube and subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Everything Boxing and Sports. And if you want to, if you want to support the channel, so hit my Cash App. It's right there scrolling across the screen. And so basically, yeah, let me see. So the news with Terrence Crawford, we know that it's been, a lot of back and forth news, and we all been wondering who Terrence Crawford is going to fight. We still wondering. Recently, some more news has come out saying that Terrence Crawford, Eddie Hearn, right? Eddie Hearn is saying that he's still working on a fight with Terrence Crawford and Kell Brook. He said he's still trying to get that fight done. Eddie Hearn says that the problem right now with getting the fight done with Kell Brook and Terrence Crawford that they trying to work on, right? He says that they both want a lot of money for that fight. He says, I don't know what Terrence Crawford is asking for, so don't let me get to, speculate. And I don't know what Kell Brook is asking for. But Eddie Hearn is saying that they both are asking for a lot of money to make that fight happen. And he's saying that that's the issue right now. They trying to work that out because they trying to figure out how they going to pay Terrence Crawford what he wants, and how they're going to pay Kell Brook what he wants, right? He's saying that Kell Brook is going to want a lot of money because he's saying that Kell Brook basically is going to want money for having to take a risky, tough fight against Terrence Crawford and also move down in weight. He says so that he knows that Kell Brook is going to want to get compensated for taking a fight like this, right? And fighting for a world title. On the other end, he's saying that Terrence Crawford wants a lot of money on his end to make the fight. So he says that's where the problem lies, is making that fight. He says he also talked about putting that fight on pay-per-view. He says you can't put the fight on pay-per-view because it's going to be, it's not going to sell. Basically, they said that, Kell Brook is not a big name in the U.S. They said, so putting Kell Brook on pay-per-view, right? Staging a pay-per-view with Kell Brook in the U.S., he's not a big name, right? And they also were saying that Terrence Crawford, his name is not big enough, to basically compensate for putting him on pay-per-view against a Kell Brook. So basically they saying pay-per-view would be an option, but they just not big enough names to, be put on pay-per-view. So that's a problem, right? Also, they talked about, them, where they gonna have this fight and all of that stuff. So, they just trying to figure out, if they can get this fight done with Kell Brook and Terrence Crawford. Now, on the other end, we've heard talks about Terrence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao. Bob Arum is still looking for foreign investors to invest in this fight, to put up the money for this fight. And they're saying that the Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford fight, it don't look like it's gonna happen. Like they still working on trying to make this fight happen, but it don't look like it's gonna happen because they still can't find an investor, a foreign investor, to put up the money for the Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford fight. So we still at odds with, who is Terrence Crawford gonna fight. I don't know. It's still like they still working on both of these fights, but the fight with Pacquiao is damn near off the table because they can't find nobody to put up the money for that fight. Bob Arum, he don't want to come out of his pocket to put up the money for the fight because he said out of his own mouth that he's lost money in the past staging pay-per-view fights with Terrence Crawford. So he not willing to do it no more. So yeah, that's where they kind of at a standstill. They hoping that they can find a foreign investor to put up the money for that fight, right? They hoping that they can find that. But right now, they're not able to find no foreign investor to put that money up. And then, like I said, on the Kell Brook side, it's a money issue too. They saying that both of these guys want too much money, and they trying to figure out how they're going to make this fight without having it on pay-per-view and be able to pay Terrence Crawford what he going to want and pay Kell Brook what he going to want. So it's a problem. So we kind of at a standstill. We still don't know who Terrence Crawford is going to fight. If the problem is that he not taking no pay cuts, and then his opponents, whoever he fight, they not taking no pay cuts to fight him. And so this is where Keith Thurman comes in at, right? If you fought a Keith Thurman, even though you saying that he want 10 mil, try to negotiate with the man. Try to negotiate and see where you can, where y'all can meet at somewhere in the middle. Because a Keith Thurman fight will be huge. But that they don't, but Terrence Crawford and his people, they don't want to hear that. Because when I say that, they start crying and getting mad, talking about, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't know shit, and all that, when you speak of anything on Terrence Crawford, they crying and they get mad, But at the end of the day, we could just sit back and not say nothing at all, and who he gonna fight. So that's just what it is, Jamaican says it's not looking good for Bud. He says Bob doesn't want to pay for his fights. He says, and his team don't want to fight certain past champs. Exactly. But if you say that, they get mad, right? When I say what I say, they get mad. I don't know shit and this and that. And Terrence Crawford said, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And and all of that. But it is what it is. Ain't nothing personal with me. I'm just speaking the facts. You dig? I'm just speaking the facts. Don't get mad at me. Like I said, tell him to get mad at his promoter. So yeah, that's what it is. What y'all think about them situations? Henny Gomez says it looks like Crawford is a YouTube star for the casual fans that don't buy pay-per-view. They just catch it free a day or two after it happens. I don't know what he is, but I know what he is in the ring. He's a hell of a fighter in the ring, but that don't translate to, his so-called diehard boxing fans. They don't look like they paying to see him fight. But I don't know. It just makes it a bigger problem now. It makes it a bigger issue because we don't have no fans, right? Now that tells you something about Errol Spence and Danny Garcia. They're not gonna have no fans that they fight, right? But they still are having a fight on pay-per-view, right? They still putting them on pay-per-view. The Charlo brothers, they don't have no fans that they fight, but they still putting them on pay-per-view. So what's the deal with Bud? Right? Y'all saying that if he as big as y'all saying he is, why can't he be put on pay-per-view? Right? If they could put the Charlos on pay-per-view, if over there on PBC, if they put Errol Spence and Danny Garcia on pay-per-view over there on PBC, why can't y'all on ESPN put Bud on pay-per-view? I'm gonna let y'all answer that. Jamaican said you can't argue with Bud and his super friends. Like you, it's funny because they don't want you to say nothing about Bud unless you just faking the funk and just say whatever they want to hear. You know what I'm saying? What you just want me to come on here and just say whatever he want me to say or his fans or his family want me to say? I ain't never spoke nothing about Bud on a personal level. I never said nothing about him in the ring, right? I never dogged him about his skills in the ring. I ain't never said nothing about him personally. I've even basically got into arguments with other fans that was talking shit about him on a personal level, right? I ain't never said nothing bad about him, but when I talk about his resume, they get mad. It's facts. I ain't making shit up. I mean, when I talk about other certain things, they get mad. But you know, it is what it is. You get mad all you want to. Daniel Parr says Bud's going to fight Jose Ramirez after Ramirez KO's Postal. Oh yeah, that's a fight. That fight coming up this weekend, I think. Postal on Ramirez. Ain't that? Let me see. Hold on. I think that fight is this weekend. Reminded me of that. That's a hell of a fight. I can't wait to see that fight. I think that's this weekend. Let me see. I mean, let me double check. But I don't know because I don't think that fight that fight not gonna happen, Daniel, because Jose Ramirez is gonna fight. If Jose Ramirez beats Postal, Jose Ramirez is probably gonna go on to fight Josh Taylor for undisputed. Oh, it's the 29th. So that fight is in a couple weeks on the 29th. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, if Jose Ramirez beats Victor Postal, which I got him beating Victor Postal, he's gonna go out and he's gonna fight he's gonna fight Taylor. He's gonna fight Taylor. Josh Taylor. That's the fight that's gonna happen because it's gonna be for all the belts, a unification bout. Undisputed, I believe. Henny Gomez says, I don't think he has that breakthrough moment in his career that defines him. Don't say that, because if they hear you say that, they gonna, you know what I'm saying? They gonna get pissed off. Don't say that. Don't speak no facts like that. But you know, it is what it is. Ain't nobody gonna stop me from saying what the fuck I want to say and what I gotta say. You know, everybody's not gonna be everybody. You know, in the sport of boxing, is not going to be Ali Setback. And shout out to Setback. You know, I love Setback. He do his thing, but Setback, you never heard him having an opinion, right? You never heard him give him his feelings on no type of fighter. You know, everybody's not going to be a Setback, and that ain't me. Jamaican says Bud is a great fighter, but Bud is not a pay-per-view star. He says because of his people, because of the people he fought in the past. He says, in my opinion. But you're not allowed to have that opinion about Bud Crawford, because if you have that opinion, he gonna get pissed off at you, and his people gonna get pissed off at you just like they is at me. But you think I care? World Combat Sports says Eddie is the biggest capping. He said Eddie BK. Yeah, Eddie, come on, World Combat, and shout out again to my man World Combat Sports. Yeah, Eddie, he lie all the time. You can't really, like Eddie said, you know, going back to what I said, what Eddie said about the Kell Brook and Terrence Crawford fight. You know, I'm just telling y'all what he said. Now, as far as if it's true or not, I don't know, because Eddie lied all of the time. Eddie lies all of the time. You feel me? Eddie, that's all he do is lie. So I can't even tell you I believe if they still even working on that fight. I would have to ask some of Terrence Crawford's people, are they actually still working on that fight, right? I don't know. Let me see. Henry Gomez says, "Oh, I like Crawford. I have nothing against him, but he needs to fight the best of the best." That's all I'm saying. But when I say it, it doesn't matter. If they hear you say that, they tell you that you don't know what the fuck you talking about. You don't know shit. He's fought the best already, and this and that. But we obviously know that ain't the truth. So when you get on here and you do what I do, you do what World Combat Sports do, Blue Blood do, and a lot of us do. You gotta, when you talk about these things, unless you do what Ellie Setback do, he's different. He don't have no opinion. You never gonna hear him say nothing that a fighter not gonna like, right? But when you do what we do, you have to talk the facts. And sometimes the facts are facts that fighters and fighters team, they not going to like hearing you say. You feel me? They not going to like it. If I were to come on here and say everything that every fighter like to hear me say, I wouldn't even be able to talk about shit because probably I'll be lying half of the time. For real. I mean, that's just what it is. I'm not finna kiss nobody ass. But I'm going to keep it 100 straight down the middle. But you don't never hear me come on here and personally talk about a fighter, a dog fighter, and talk about, what they do in their personal life, unless it's somebody like Kovalev running down, women, abusing them, sexually assaulting them, unless it's some shit like that. But other than that, I don't get into these fighters' I know a lot of shit, behind the scenes about a lot of fighters' personal, and y'all ain't never heard me come on here and talk about it. Never said nothing about it, because that ain't my business to do. But yeah. So anyway, that's what it is. Let me check the time. It's almost that time. If you don't know, I'm a diehard Lakers fan, and my Lakers are going to get ready to play soon. I think they play right now in like 30 minutes, so I'm not finna be on here no longer. I do appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Come and check me out. Right? Next time, I should be back on here tomorrow. I'll be sending out notifications, letting you know that I'm coming on. Let me see. J.A. Dixon says, right, leave that stuff to TMZ. Exactly. Daniel Parr says, can't wait to Maul versus Derevyanchenko. He says, I got Maul. Yeah, I'm taking Maul in that fight too. I can't wait. That whole pay-per-view is going to be lit. You got Jermall Charlo versus Derevyanchenko. Hell of a fight. And you got Jermell Charlo versus Rosario, for 3 belts on the line. You can't ask for more. Henny Gomez says they will have to call you everything Trump if you come out here lying. Yeah, I'm not finna come out here lying. Shit. If I like a fighter, if I don't, I still got. If I choose to speak on the situation, I gotta speak the facts. You feel me? Other than that, I'ma just not speak on the situation. Jamaican says the fact that Bud just wants to wait for the champ in the division is ludicrous. He says he needs to fight past champs that are available. He says Porter, Brook, Thurman. Yeah, I feel the same way. John Sharp says Billy Joe Sanders would make Canelo look foolish. He says, in my opinion, Styles make fights all wrong for him, Lucas McCain. Nah, I gotta disagree with you before I get off of here. Billy Joe Sanders don't got shit for Canelo, because Billy Joe Sanders showed once he got off them PEDs, right? Because he's been busted for PEDs on more than one occasion. But once he got off them PEDs, Billy Joe Sanders, he don't perform well. He shows, and you better believe they're gonna have testing in that fight. I don't think that he don't got nothing for Canelo. But like I said, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Come and check me out on here tomorrow. And you already know how I do. There you go, talking that boxing again. I don't watch reality TV. I watch boxing. I appreciate y'all. Hit my like button before you leave the building and subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Everything Boxing and Sports. And I'll check you out. I'm out.